Who would like to pick a poem? You, please.
Well, picking.
Off the wall. Probably best if you just close your eyes and go for it.
Sure.
Is this all poetry?
To the left is all poetry, to the right is all Larry Burns. Excellent.
Okay, now
How
open
cool.
it.
Excuse me.
What is it?
Nikki Giovanni.
Is it a good one?
I don't know. Ask Phyllis. It's good?
Her friend, yes. Nikki, she's good.
Oh, Jesus. What can you tell us about this poet?
Nikki Giovanni has been a radical activist, Black American poet for like the last 40 years, and she's just now getting all the accolades she deserves.
She lives.
She lives on, yes, she's still alive, and she's now getting all the accolades that have been accumulated for 40 years.
Awesome.
Gwendolyn Brooks? No, there's no one to compare it to. She's Nikki Giovanni. Maybe Entezaki Shanga, activist poetry.
Awesome. And so this is called, this is like no tricks, nothing on my hands. You saw that. This is called Harvest. It's for Rosa Parks. Do you guys know?
Of course.
Anyone know?
Of course.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Do you know who Rosa Parks is?
Yeah, Rosa Parks.
Okay, everyone knows Rosa Parks, so.
If I know, everyone knows.
Everyone knows.
There's even a Rosa Parks tram station in Paris now.
Yeah.
There is not a Rosa Parks tram station in America, which is fucked up.
There's right next to Ella Fitzgerald.
It could have been a bus station, but no, it's just tram.
Yeah, it would have been more
Appropriate.
appropriate if it was a bus station, but then again, more people probably use the train stations.
There's probably a bus.
Harvest for Rosa Parks. It's a long poem, not that long, but if you're wondering if it's going to end at the, in like short poem, no, it's not, so settle in. There's an old story I learned in church one evening about a preacher and his deacon fishing. Seems that every time the good brother got a bite, the fish would scamper away, and the deacon would curse. The preacher, probably feeling his profession demanded a response, said to the deacon brother, "Should you curse like that? With me here? Over some fish?" And the deacon agreed. They fished on, the deacon losing more fish, when finally a big one got away. The deacon remembered his vow, looked at his empty pole, reminded himself of the vow, looked at his empty pole, sucked in his breath, turned to the preacher, and remarked, "Reverend, something needs to be said. I guess everybody wants to be special and pretty. The boys just want to be strong or fast, all the same things children want everywhere. It was ordinary, as far as I can see, my childhood, but well, I don't know much about psychology. We had a lot of pride growing up in Tuskegee. You could easily see what our people could do if somebody set a mind to it. Father was a carpenter. Mama taught school. I got married at 19. You always felt you should do something. It just wasn't right what they did to Negroes, and why Negroes let it happen. Colored people couldn't vote, couldn't use the bathroom in public places, couldn't go to the same library they paid taxes for, had to sit on the back of the buses, couldn't live places, work places, go to movies, amusement parks, nothing. If you were colored, just signs. Always signs saying no, no, no. My husband is a fine man, a fighting man. When we were young, belonging to the NAACP was radical, dangerous. People got killed, run out of town, beaten and burned out just for belonging. My husband belonged, and I belonged. In 1943, during the war. Double victory was just as important. One thing without the other was not good enough. I was elected secretary of the Montgomery branch. I am proud of that. Many people just think history just fell on my shoulders or at my feet. 1st of December, 1955. But that's not true. Sometimes it seemed it was never going to stop. That same driver who had me arrested had put me off a bus from Maxwell Air Base, where I had worked, or maybe they all looked the same. I wasn't looking for anything. That Colvin girl had been arrested, and nobody did anything. I didn't think they would do anything, and the driver told us, it was 4 of us, to move. 3 people moved. I didn't. I couldn't. It was just so wrong. Nobody offered to go with me. A neighbor on the same bus didn't even tell my husband what had happened. I just thought we should let them know. I should let them know it wasn't right. You have to realize I was 40 years old. All my life, all I'd seen were signs that everything was getting worse. The press people came. They came around after we won. I had to reenact everything. I was on the aisle. The man by the window got up. I don't fault him for getting up. He was just doing what he was told. Across the aisle were 2 women. They got up too. There was a lot of violence, physical and verbal. I kind of thought something might happen to me. I just couldn't get up. They always tell us one person doesn't make any difference. But it seems to me something should be done. In all these years, it's strange, but maybe not. Nobody asks about my life. If I have children, why I moved to Detroit, what I think about what we tried to do. Somehow, you want to say things are better. Somehow they are. Not in many ways. People, older people, are afraid. Younger people are too. I really don't know where it will end. Our people can break your heart. So can other people. I just think it makes a difference what one person does. Young people forget that. What one person does makes a difference. The deacon, of course, wanted to curse because the fish got away. Perhaps there is something other to be done about the people we lose. We always talk about how everyone was black before it was fashionable, overlooking the reality. That were that true, black would have been fashionable before it was and might have stayed in vogue longer than it did. Something needs to be said about Rosa Parks, other than her feet were tired. Lots of people on that bus, and many before and since, had tired feet. Lots of people still do. They just don't know where to plant them.
You know what's
Good
awesome?
choice.